Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
And take a look.
What the? Jurassic Park?
Yeah! I'll do it right. Hey guys, what's going on? One of the things I wanted to talk about today for story time was, or is, the Lost World Jurassic Park arcade that I have. A lot of people ask me how I got it, why I have it. And it's funny too, because prior to me getting it, I didn't even think or imagine ever owning an arcade, or if that that was something that you could do. Especially that arcade. I mean, you think about it, for me at least, I think that came out 97, maybe, I might be wrong, 97, 98, somewhere around then. Jurassic Park was so huge when I was a kid growing up. I remember my friend had all the toys. I think he got rid of them, and he probably regrets that now, because they're probably worth a lot of money. So it was a huge franchise, and it still is with Jurassic World now. I remember I'd always play it when I'd go into laser tag or movie theaters or something like that, or just the arcade in general. This was back around the time when Corona first started, so the lockdown, I believe, had went into effect, or maybe it was just it must have been in effect already. Luckily, the company that I was working for, they had received a contract to supply a hospital that was set up in New York City to treat COVID patients. We were contracted to provide communication system, microphones, headphones, things like that. I was employed, and the work increased significantly. Staff was cut in half, so there was not really a lot of time home for spending time with family or anything like that. But I had a lot of extra money suddenly available because I was working crazy hours. So I'm scrolling through eBay one day, and I come across this guy. He's selling this Jurassic Park Lost World arcade, and it looks like he's at an amusement park or something like that. So I'm looking at it, and I believe he had it listed for $1,000, which right there I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. It was like more money than I was comfortable spending. But I was interested nonetheless. So I was like messaging him, and I was like, "Hey man, just want to know some details about this. What's the dimensions?" Because I was like, "How if I was to even entertain the idea of getting this, how would I fit this in my house, if anything?" And he shot me over the dimensions, and it was nice. And I was like, okay, won't fit through any of the doors in my house. It was just too wide, tall, and as I would later find out, extremely heavy. So they were getting rid of some older machines. It seemed like the Jurassic Park machine had some issues with it. He said, it's banged up a bit, needs some TLC. The one gun's broken and doesn't work, the blue one. I'm pretty sure it was the blue one, the one on the right side. So I was like, okay. And it's interesting. I'll think about it. And I could, if anything, I'll get back to you. Coincidentally, my nephew had came up to stay with us, and we had planned to take him for his birthday to the Nassau Coliseum, which is maybe an hour or so from where we live, and they were doing a Jurassic World show. So it was going to be super fun for his birthday and everything like that, and everything shut down. So he didn't get to see Jurassic World. We did some other stuff with him, so he was fine. But in the back of my head, I was like, oh man, that's really too bad, because that would have been so much fun for him. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I shoot this guy an offer or something? It was, late at night and everything like that. And was going to bed, but I was still thinking about it. So I was like, I'll just throw out an offer. Hopefully I don't insult the guy, because I was going to make it considerably lower than what he was asking. But I was like, I'm just going to say I'll offer you $600 for it. And, at least I could say I try, get it out of my mind. I could have peace of mind saying that I tried, right? So I send that at night, go to bed, wake up in the morning, getting ready, not thinking anything. I go to check my phone, and it's like, oh, you won that thing, or he accepted your offer. And I was like, wait, my offer on what? And I'm looking through. I was like, oh, the Jurassic Park arcade. So he accepted my offer at $600. I shot him over the money, and I was like, hey, how do people usually pick up arcades? I had a pickup truck. So I was like, I'm thinking, me and my friend will just come and pick it up. And he's like, that's fine. I have a guy who's working at the grounds at the park, so you can meet up with him, pick it up, and the only thing is that he can't lift anything. I don't want him lifting anything. He'll wheel it out to you to the curb, but it's not gonna. It's up to you guys. So I was like, that's not a problem. I'm gonna bring my friend. Me and him will pick it up, and put it in the back of my pickup. And he's like, if that's your plan, you better bring at least 3 people to lift it, because it's extremely heavy. So I was like, oh, that's not good. I had so much going on with work, there was just no way I was going to be able to pick it up. So by the time the following week came around, I was like, man, I need to get this. It's going to be a pain to try to lift it up and put it in the back of the truck, from what the guy's telling me. And I just don't have any free time to get over there. It's not like I could take off at that time or anything like that. Do a lot with logistics and forwarding freight and everything like that. So I had a few buddies that I could call up and say, hey, I bought an arcade and I don't know how to move it. Can you guys send a truck for me? And I knew enough people where there was like, yeah, no problem, we can take care of it for you. So I had someone shoot over there. They picked it up, no problem, and then they came and dropped it off at my job for me. So at the end of the day, when I was wrapping up, all I had to do was use our forklift and throw it in the back of my pickup, which was super convenient. So it was so funny because, you strap everything up, you have this arcade in the back of your pickup, and I'm driving home, and you see like everyone waving at you, and people are pulling up, honking the horn, smiling and everything. And it's such a cool feeling and experience to see people that get that excited over something like that. That's why I love this stuff, just because you get such a positive reaction from people. It reminds them of their childhood, or it's just cool, right? So I had cleared out a spot in my garage where I could wheel it in, but the question was, how do I get it out of my pickup? So I called over my brother-in-law, and me and him were like, okay, not a problem, we'll just pick it up, right, and we'll lower it down off the truck. So we climb up into the back of the bed, and I guess the first thing I should say, one of the first things I did was run in an extension cord out to the back of my pickup, boot up the game, and obviously I played a couple of rounds before I tried to move it. So there's handles that are actually on the side of it, so you can put your hands into these like handles and then presumably lift it up. So he's on one side, I'm on the other side. We get under it and try to lift it with our knees, and there was like no way. I mean, we could tip it a little bit, but there was going to be no way that we could actually lift it up and get it out of the truck without smashing it to bits. We were kicking around like all these different ideas, like, oh, what can we do? Can we build like a ramp or something? And I think my brother-in-law suggested it, and I had a bunch of pallets in my backyard, and he's like, what if we stack up the pallets to the back of the bed, and then we just wheel it off onto the pallets? And I was like, oh, you know what, that might work. So we end up dragging out the pallets, we get everything stacked up, and the thing's on wheels, right? It's on casters. So we're able to get it off and onto the pallets. And, you know, we're pull the truck forward, and we're like, all right, awesome, we got it off the truck. The thing is, okay, now it's stacked, you know, however feet high on pallets. How do you get it down off of that? Okay, what if we stack up pallets, more pallets right next to it, but we do one pallet less? So we stack everything up, it's one pallet less, or it must have been one pallet less, and we carefully slide it over, and it's, you know, tilting down. And I think at this point my father, who lives nearby, he had came over to watch us. So I think he's on one side watching, kind of like holding it to keep it from falling over. Me and my brother-in-law are trying to slide it down. So we get it down onto the lower pallets, and we're like, oh, okay, now we just have to do that, you know, 10 more times. So that's essentially what we did, where we each time we would slide it over to one stack of pallets, pull out pallets from the other side, slide it back over, and we just kept doing that back and forth until we got down to like where it was just 2 pallets, and we were able to carefully maneuver it off of the pallets and get it onto the ground. And then since it was on casters, we were able to roll it in. A few of the things that I did to the machine since I've had it, like I said, the guns, the one gun was dead and the other gun was a little wonky. I ended up finding replacement guns a few months later online on eBay as well. So I pick up the guns. That came with replacement shells. They had some PCBs in it and everything like that. So the PCB is not plugged in. So I was like, oh, maybe it's an easy fix. I plugged it in, put everything back together, didn't do it. So anyway, I was replacing the shell because it's busted, and I was like, I have a new PCB, I'll throw that in it. So I threw that in, and I put everything back together, and, you know, it's working perfectly, or, you know, maybe not perfectly, but as good as or better than the working gun. It was actually working better. So one of the things you have to do when you get everything hooked up, there's this like calibration mode that you have to run through, and it's a little tricky to get used to, but once you do it, it's not that hard. So it's like you point the gun at the screen and then you pull the trigger, and where the light shoots, that's where it'll be like, okay, that's left. Then you hit start and it moves down to like the right, so you would move over to the right side, pull the trigger, so it measures the light that's being emitted from the gun, and then, you know, you just keep moving down through everything. And, you know, it's pretty cool the way that whole thing works, to get inside and look at everything. Eventually I replaced the red gun as well. I put a new shell on it and replaced the wiring. I got to play around with it a little bit more. I've ended up buying additional parts for it and changing things out, and, you know, some things get better, some things are like, you know, it might have been better off how it was, but it, you know, it's a learning process and everything like that. The best part about the whole arcade was being able to surprise my nephew with it, though. We had just played Jurassic Park on the Sega Genesis. He had wanted to play it, so hooked it up for him. He was running around while I was doing some work or something like that to keep him busy. So we wrap up with that. We're having lunch, and then I'm like, oh, Mikey, I have a surprise for you. And he's like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, come outside, I gotta show you something. So we go outside, and I'm filming it because I want to save his reaction. When you're working late or something, it's nice to bring up something like that. It's like, oh yeah, that's why I'm wasting all these hours, or putting in all these hours.
What the? Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
You just did this. Hate it.
You gonna play it?
You gonna play? Yeah?
Play it. I'm blue.
You want the blue one?
You can play with me. And orange.
Yeah?
And orange can have the red one.
Okay.
I have the blue one. Is this old?
Yeah, it's really old. I told you, this is from like when I was a kid. It's so funny to see his reaction, and for him to play it, he absolutely loves it. And we, now if you guys follow me on Instagram, you've seen the Star Wars arcade that we have, and he still absolutely loves the Jurassic Park arcade. That's awesome for him that he gets to play it. When I was a kid, I always I'd never even imagined having it, but that's the coolest thing. You just have an arcade in your garage or something like that. So I'm happy that I get to share that with him and my niece and friends and everything like that. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the story in a nutshell of the Jurassic Park arcade. Hopefully I'll be able to get some gameplay in the future. I think that'll be cool to do. And I'm gonna keep tweaking it, and hopefully I'll get a really solid Lost World arcade. But that's it. That's the story, and thanks for checking it out. It's a T-Rex, bud.
You get him. You get him,
Okay.
Mark.
You need me to get him?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll choose this one.
Okay. We'll get him good.